The sandwich hit the slush. Grace dropped to her knees to grab it. Mom, don't, but Diana wasn't there. She was sitting in her car half a block away watching through a windshield she couldn't see through anymore because she was crying too hard. Grace's fingers closed around the wet bread. A stranger reached down to help her up. Grace flinched away from the hand like she'd been struck. Diana shoved the car door open and stumbled out. Her legs barely held her. She made it 2 steps before she bent over and threw up on the sidewalk. A woman walking past pulled her child away quickly. Mom. Diana wiped her mouth and started walking. Grace was still on her knees. The volunteer in the yellow vest crouched down next to Grace. Ma'am, it's okay. We have more. You can have another one. I dropped it. Grace's voice cracked. I'm sorry. I dropped the food. Diana broke into a run. Before I tell you what happened next, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel right now. Comment your city below. I need to know someone out there is listening. I need to know I'm not screaming into the void. Because this story gets worse before it gets better, and I need to know you're still here when it does. Diana reached Grace just as the volunteer was helping her stand. Grace looked at Diana with no recognition in her eyes. Do I know you? Grace asked. I'm your daughter. My daughter's in America. We are in America, Mom. Grace blinked. Oh. The volunteer handed Grace a new sandwich. Here you go, sweetie. Thank you. Grace took it with both hands. Then she looked at Diana again. Are you taking me home? Yes. Where's home? Diana's phone rang. She pulled it out. Marcus. She declined the call. It rang again immediately. Answer it, Grace said. Someone needs you. Diana answered. What? Where the hell are you? Marcus's voice was sharp. The facility called me. They said Mom walked out. She's with me. You left work again. Yes. Diana, they're going to fire you. I know. Silence. Then where are you right now? 5th Avenue. The food bank. More silence. Jesus Christ. I have to go. No. Listen to me. We need to talk about this tonight. I'm serious. Fine. She hung up. Grace was eating the sandwich, chewing slowly like every bite took concentration. The volunteer was watching them both with that look. The pity look. The thank God that's not me look. Diana took Grace's arm. Come on. They walked to the car. Grace got in without arguing this time. Diana started the engine. Her hands shook so badly she could barely hold the steering wheel. That was good bread, Grace said. I'm glad. Where did we get it? The food bank. Grace nodded. Then she turned to look at Diana. You look like my daughter. I am your daughter. No, she's younger. And she smiles more. Diana drove. Her phone buzzed. A text from her supervisor. She didn't read it. It buzzed again. She turned it off completely. They passed the pharmacy. Grace sat up straighter. I need to get my medication, she said. We picked it up yesterday, Mom. Are you sure? Yes. I don't remember that. I know. Grace was quiet for a moment. Then I don't remember a lot of things anymore. Diana's throat closed up. She couldn't respond. Am I sick? Grace asked. Yes. Is it bad? Diana turned left onto Cedar. It's called dementia. That's when you forget things. Yes. Will I get better? Diana didn't answer. Grace didn't ask again. They pulled up to a stoplight. A car pulled up next to them. Diana glanced over. A woman about her age driving 2 kids in the back seat. The woman was laughing at something one of them said. The light turned green. They drove away. Grace pointed suddenly. That's our house. Diana looked. It wasn't their house. It was Marcus's house. The house they'd lived in together before the divorce. Mom, we don't live there anymore. Yes, we do. Pull over. We can't. I want to go home. That's not home. Grace's voice rose. I live there. Stop the car. Diana kept driving. Grace reached for the door handle. Diana hit the lock button. Mom, stop. Let me out. We're moving. I can't let you out. Grace pulled harder on the handle. Let me out. Let me out right now. Diana pulled over. Her heart was pounding. Grace was crying now, pulling on the door, hitting the window with her palm. Mom, please. I want to go home. Okay. Diana put the car in reverse. Okay, we'll go. She drove back to Marcus's house. Grace stopped crying immediately. Thank you, Grace said quietly. Diana parked in front of the house. Grace got out before Diana could stop her. She walked up the path to the front door like she'd done it 1,000 times before. Because she had. Grace knocked. Diana got out of the car but stayed on the sidewalk. Her legs wouldn't move any closer. The door opened. Marcus stood there in jeans and a sweater. His eyes went to Grace, then to Diana. "I forgot my keys," Grace told him. Marcus looked at Diana again. Diana shook her head slightly. "Don't say it. Don't tell her." "Come in," Marcus said to Grace. "Let me help you find them." Grace walked inside. Diana's phone buzzed in her pocket. She ignored it. Marcus stepped outside, leaving the door open. "What happened?" he asked quietly. "She got out of the facility. I found her at the food bank. The one where she used to volunteer." "Yes." Marcus rubbed his face. "Diana, this is getting dangerous." "I know. She could have gotten hurt. Or lost. Or I know. You can't keep doing this." Diana's phone buzzed again. She pulled it out. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. "Is this Diana Wells?" "Yes. This is Jennifer Brooks from Adult Protective Services. We received a report about Grace Monroe." Diana's stomach dropped. What kind of report? That she was found wandering alone today. "We need to schedule a home visit." "Who reported her?" "I can't disclose that." "Can you meet tomorrow at 10? Diana looked at Marcus. He was watching her. "I have to work. Can you take off?" "Yes." "Fine. 10 o'clock. She hung up. Marcus was still watching her. "That was a PS," Diana said. "I heard. Did you call them number?" "But someone should have." Diana laughed. It came out wrong, sharp and bitter. "Right. Someone should have reported me for taking care of my own mother." "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" Marcus didn't answer. Grace appeared in the doorway. "I can't find my keys," she said. Diana walked up the path. "That's okay, Mom. We don't need them right now." "But how will we get in the house?" "We're leaving the house." "Come on." Grace looked confused but followed Diana back to the car. Marcus stayed in the doorway. Diana opened the passenger door for Grace. Grace got in. "Wait," Marcus called out. Diana turned. "I want to help," Marcus said. "With the facility costs. I'll pay for it." Diana stared at him. "Why would you do that?" "Because watching this is killing me too. You divorced me 8 months ago. You said you couldn't handle it anymore." "I know what I said." "So why now?" Marcus came down the steps. "Because I saw her today. Really saw her. And I realized something. What? This isn't going to get better. And you're going to destroy yourself trying to make it better." Diana's hands curled into fists. "She's my mother. I know. That's why I'm offering to help. I don't want your money." "Then what do you want?" Diana opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Because she didn't know. She wanted her mother back. She wanted her job back. She wanted her life back. But none of those things were possible. "I need to think about it," she finally said. "Okay. But think fast. That APS visit tomorrow isn't going to go well if you can't prove you can care for her." Diana got in the car. She didn't look at Marcus as she drove away. Grace was quiet in the passenger seat, staring out the window. "Who was that man?" Grace asked. "My ex-husband." "What's ex mean?" "It means we're not married anymore." "Oh." Grace thought about this. "Did he hurt you?" "Yes. But not the way you think." "How then?" Diana didn't answer. They drove the rest of the way in silence. At the apartment, Grace fell asleep on the couch immediately. Diana sat on the floor next to her and turned her phone back on. 17 missed calls. 12 text messages. The first text was from her supervisor. "Diana, call me immediately." The second was from the hospital HR department. "We need to discuss your employment status." The third was from an unknown number. "This is Jennifer Brooks from APS. I forgot to mention, please have all of Grace's medical records available tomorrow." Diana deleted them all. Then she opened her banking app. Her checking account showed $847. Rent was due in 6 days. It was $1,800. She opened her email. A message from the memory care facility. "Dear Mrs. Wells, we regret to inform you that we can no longer care for Grace Monroe. She has left the facility 3 times this month, which poses a significant liability risk. We require 30 days notice, but given the circumstances, we're asking you to make alternative arrangements within 2 weeks." Diana read it 3 times. Then she put her phone down and stared at the wall. Grace stirred on the couch. "Diana, I'm here. I had a bad dream." What was it about? I don't remember. Grace sat up. Where are we? Our apartment. In Minneapolis. Is this America? Yes. Did I move here? Yes, Mom. 3 years ago. Grace looked around like she was seeing the apartment for the first time. Maybe she was. It's small. I know. Where's our house? We don't have a house anymore. Why not? Because I got divorced and lost my job and we ran out of money. Grace blinked. Oh. Diana's phone rang. She looked at the screen. Marcus. She answered. I've been thinking, Marcus said. About the facility costs. I said I'd think about it. I know. But I need you to hear something first. What? There's a condition. Diana's chest tightened. Of course there is. If I pay for the facility, you have to agree to put her in one. A real one. A locked memory care unit. That's basically a prison. That's safety. Diana, she can't keep wandering. What if she gets hurt? What if she walks into traffic? What if I get it? Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're choosing your pride over her safety. Diana stood up and walked into the bathroom. She closed the door. Don't do that. Don't make this about my pride. Then what is it about? It's about the fact that she's terrified of strangers. It's about the fact that locked units make her panic. It's about you not wanting to let go. Diana's free hand gripped the sink. You don't get to tell me what this is about. You left. You chose to leave. I left the marriage. Not her. Not you. Felt the same to me. Silence. Then Marcus said, I'm sorry. I know this is hard. You don't know anything. Then help me understand. Diana looked at herself in the mirror. She barely recognized the person looking back. I watched her beg for food today. Did I tell you that she was on her knees in the slush picking up a sandwich she dropped? And I sat in my car and watched it happen. Diana, 6 years ago, she was the one handing out those sandwiches. She volunteered there every week. She loved it. She'd come home and tell me stories about the people she'd met. And today she was one of them. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't change anything. No. But money does. Let me pay for the facility. Diana closed her eyes. What's the real condition? Because I know you well enough to know there's more. A pause. Then the facility wants a healthcare proxy. Someone who can make medical decisions. It can't be you. Why not? Because you're emotionally involved. They want someone who can be objective. And that someone is you. I'm her former son-in-law. Technically, I have no legal relationship to her. But I'm willing to step in if you authorize it. Diana opened her eyes. You want me to sign over medical decisions about my mother to my ex-husband? I want to make sure she gets the care she needs. Even when it's hard. Even when you can't bear to make the choice. Diana hung up. She walked back to the living room. Grace was awake, looking at her hands like they belonged to someone else. These hands are old, Grace said. Diana sat down next to her. Yes. Were they always old? Number. They used to be young. Grace turned her hands over, studying them. I don't remember them being young. That's okay. Is it okay to not remember? Diana took Grace's hands in hers. I don't know, Mom. I really don't know. Grace looked at Diana. For just a moment her eyes cleared. You're scared. Yes. Of what? Of losing you. I'm right here. I know. But you're also not. Grace nodded slowly like she understood. Maybe she did. I'm sorry. For what? For being old. And sick. And expensive. Diana's eyes burned. Don't say that. It's true though, isn't it? I'm making your life hard. You're my mother. You're supposed to be in my life. But maybe not like this. Diana couldn't speak. Grace patted her hand. It's okay, Grace said softly. You can let me go if you need to. I don't want to let you go. I know. But maybe that's not your choice anymore. Grace's eyes clouded over again. The moment of clarity was gone. She pulled her hands away and lay back down on the couch. Within seconds she was asleep. Diana sat there until her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi Diana, this is Rachel from the hospital. I heard about what happened today. I'm sorry. Call me if you need anything. Diana stared at the message. Rachel. Her former friend. The one who'd known about the layoffs before Diana did and hadn't warned her. The one who'd stopped calling after the divorce. She typed back, I don't need anything from you. Then she deleted it. What was the point? Rachel was just trying to feel better about herself. That's what people did. They offered help they had no intention of actually giving. Diana's phone buzzed again. Jennifer Brooks from APS. One more thing. Please have a list of all medications and care providers available tomorrow. We'll need to verify everything. Diana threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. Grace didn't wake up. Diana put her head in her hands and cried. Not quiet tears. Not dignified grief. She sobbed like a child, loud and broken until she couldn't breathe. When she finally stopped, the apartment was completely dark. Grace was still sleeping. Diana's phone was still on the floor where she'd thrown it. She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Minneapolis was lit up against the winter sky. Somewhere in that city there were people having normal nights. Making dinner. Watching TV. Putting their kids to bed. Diana pressed her forehead against the cold glass and made a decision. Tomorrow, when APS came, she would tell them everything. She would tell them she couldn't do this anymore. She would tell them Grace needed more care than she could provide. She would tell them to take her mother away. And then she would have to live with that choice for the rest of her life. Diana didn't sleep. She sat at the kitchen table watching the clock on the microwave count forward until it read 6:47 a.m. Grace was still asleep on the couch. Diana had covered her with 2 blankets sometime around 3 in the morning when she'd heard her shivering. At 7, Diana made coffee. Her hands were steadier than she expected. Maybe this was what acceptance felt like. Cold and numb and certain. Grace woke up at 7:32. She sat up slowly and looked around. Where am I? Our apartment. In Minneapolis. Grace stared at Diana. Who are you? Diana poured a second cup of coffee. I'm your daughter. I don't have a daughter. Yes, you do. My name is Diana. Grace shook her head. No. My daughter lives in Nigeria. She's a little girl. She has braids. Diana sat down across from her mother. That was a long time ago, Mom. I'm grown up now. I live in America. You came to live with me. That's not possible. It's true. Grace stood up suddenly. I want to go home. This is home. No. Grace's voice rose. This is not my home. Take me home right now. Diana stayed seated. I can't do that. Then I'll find it myself. Grace walked to the door and tried the handle. Diana had locked it the night before, anticipating this exact moment. Grace pulled harder. It's locked, Diana said. Unlock it. No. Grace spun around. You're keeping me prisoner. I'm keeping you safe. I don't know you. Let me out. Diana's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Jennifer Brooks. The APS worker. She was supposed to be here in 2.5 hours. Mom, please sit down. Someone's coming to visit us today. I don't want visitors. I want to leave. Grace pulled on the door handle again. Then she started hitting the door with her palm. Hard. Over and over. Mom, stop. Grace didn't stop. She hit the door harder. Her hand made a cracking sound against the wood. Diana stood up and grabbed Grace's wrist gently. You're going to hurt yourself. Grace yanked her arm away. Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. I'm trying to help. You're a stranger. You're keeping me locked in here. Grace's eyes were wild now. Frightened. Help, someone help me. Diana let go. Grace ran to the window and started pounding on the glass. Help, please, someone help. The apartment wall shook. A voice came through. Keep it down over there. Grace pounded harder. Help me, I'm being held against my will. Diana's phone rang. She answered without looking. Diana, it's Marcus. I can hear her from outside. I'm in the parking lot. Diana walked to the window. Marcus's car was parked 3 spots away. He was standing next to it, phone to his ear. What are you doing here? Diana asked. I came to check on you before the APS visit. Let me in. No. Diana, your neighbors are going to call the police. Grace was still screaming. Diana hung up and unlocked the door. Marcus came in fast. Grace saw him and ran toward him. Help me. This woman won't let me leave. Marcus caught Grace gently by the shoulders. It's okay. You're safe. She locked me in here. I know. But she's trying to help you. I don't know her. Marcus looked at Diana over Grace's head. His face said everything. This is why you can't do this anymore. This is why she needs professional care. This is why you have to let go. Someone knocked on the door. Diana opened it. A woman in her 30s stood there in yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt. The neighbor from 2D. Is everything okay? The neighbor asked. We're fine. It doesn't sound fine. I heard screaming. My mother has dementia. She gets confused. The neighbor looked past Diana at Grace, who was now crying in Marcus's arms. Maybe she needs to be somewhere that can handle that. Diana's jaw tightened. Thank you for your concern. I have a baby. The screaming wakes her up. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't help me. This is the 4th time this week. Diana started to close the door. The neighbor put her hand out to stop it. I'm calling the landlord. You can't have her here if she's going to be disruptive. She's not disruptive. She's sick. Same difference to me. Diana shut the door in her face. Marcus was watching her. That went well, he said. Shut up. Grace had stopped crying. She was staring at the wall, now quiet and vacant. Marcus guided her to the couch. She sat down without resistance. When's the APS person coming? Marcus asked. 10. He checked his watch. That's in 2 hours. You need to clean this place up. Diana looked around. The apartment wasn't dirty, but it wasn't neat either. Grace's medications were scattered across the counter. Dirty dishes in the sink. A pile of unopened mail on the table. Evidence of someone barely holding on. I'll help, Marcus said. I don't need your help. Yes, you do. He started gathering the pill bottles. Where do these go? Medicine cabinet. He walked to the bathroom. Diana heard him opening drawers, organizing things. She wanted to tell him to leave, but he was right. She needed help. She hated that he was right. Her phone rang again. Unknown number. She answered. Diana Wells. Yes. This is Human Resources at Minneapolis General. We need you to come in today to discuss your employment status. Diana's stomach dropped. I have something at 10. This can't wait. Can you be here at 9? That's in an hour. I'm aware. 9 o'clock. Don't be late. The woman hung up. Diana stood there holding the phone. Marcus came out of the bathroom. Who was that? The hospital. They want to see me at 9. For what? I think they're firing me. Marcus didn't say anything. He didn't have to. They both knew this was coming. Can you stay with her? Diana asked. Just until the APS person gets here. What about the hospital meeting? I'll be fast. I'll be back by 10. Diana, please. I need you to do this one thing for me. Marcus looked at Grace on the couch. Okay. But hurry. Diana grabbed her keys and left. In the car, she checked her face in the mirror. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in a year. She drove to the hospital anyway. The hour office was on the 3rd floor. Diana had walked past it hundreds of times but never been inside. The receptionist looked up when Diana entered. Diana Wells. Yes. Have a seat. Ms. Patterson will be with you shortly. Diana sat. The chair was uncomfortable. Everything in the room was beige and corporate. A poster on the wall said excellence in healthcare starts with excellence in team members. Diana wanted to tear it down. The door opened. A woman in a gray suit came out. Diana, I'm Susan Patterson. Come in. Diana followed her into a small office. Susan sat behind a desk. She didn't ask Diana to sit, so Diana stood. I'll get right to it, Susan said. We're terminating your employment effective immediately. Diana had expected it, but hearing the words still felt like being hit. Can I ask why you've missed 3 shifts this month without proper notification? You left mid-shift twice. Your performance has been declining for months. My mother is sick. I've explained this. We understand you have personal challenges. But we need reliable staff. I'm sorry, but this decision is final. Diana's hands curled into fists. I've worked here for 8 years. I've never had a single complaint until my mother got sick. I understand this is difficult. Do you have any idea what it's like to choose between your job and your dying mother? Susan's expression didn't change. You'll receive 2 weeks severance pay. Your benefits end at the end of the month. Security will escort you out. I don't have anything in my locker. Then you're free to go. Diana turned and walked out. In the hallway, she saw Rachel coming toward her. Rachel's eyes went wide. Diana, I heard. I'm so sorry. Diana kept walking. Rachel followed her. Diana, wait. Please. Diana stopped at the elevator. What do you want? I want you to know I didn't have anything to do with this. Didn't you? Number. I swear. The elevator doors opened. Diana stepped in. Rachel put her hand out to hold the doors. Let me help, Rachel said. I can talk to Susan. Maybe we can. We Diana laughed. There is no we. There hasn't been a we since you stopped returning my calls 6 months ago. I was going through my own stuff. Right. Your stuff. Must be so hard being married to a doctor and living in that big house in Edina. Rachel's face flushed. That's not fair. Nothing's fair, Rachel. That's what I've learned. Diana pushed Rachel's hand away from the door. The elevator closed. She rode down to the parking garage alone. In the car she checked the time. 9:47. She had 13 minutes to get back to the apartment. She made it in 11. Marcus's car was still there. Diana ran up the stairs. Inside, Marcus was sitting on the couch next to Grace. Grace was watching TV, calm now. Marcus stood up when Diana came in. How'd it go? I'm fired. Jesus. I'm sorry. Don't be. You were right. I couldn't keep that job and take care of her. So what are you going to do? Diana walked to the window. I don't know. Someone knocked on the door. Diana checked the time. Exactly 10 o'clock. She opened the door. A woman in her 40s stood there with a clipboard and a forced smile. Diana Wells. I'm Jennifer Brooks from Adult Protective Services. Come in. Jennifer stepped inside. Her eyes swept the apartment, immediately taking everything in. The small space. The worn furniture. Grace on the couch in pajamas at 10 in the morning. And this must be Grace, Jennifer said. Grace looked up. Who are you? I'm Jennifer. I'm here to make sure you're doing okay. I'm fine. Jennifer sat down in the chair across from Grace. Marcus moved to stand next to Diana. Jennifer pulled out a pen. Grace, can you tell me where you are right now? Home. And where is home? Grace looked around. I'm not sure. Do you know what city you're in? Lagos. Jennifer wrote something down. And who is this? She pointed at Diana. Grace squinted. I don't know. Jennifer turned to Diana. How often does she not recognize you? It varies. Sometimes she knows me. Sometimes she doesn't. And when she doesn't know you, what do you do? I remind her. I show her photos. Eventually she remembers. Does she ever become aggressive? Diana hesitated. Sometimes she gets upset. Aggressive, Jennifer repeated. Has she ever hit you? Number. Jennifer looked at Diana's wrist. There was a bruise there from yesterday when Grace had grabbed her. Jennifer wrote something else down. That's not from her, Diana said. Where is it from? Diana couldn't answer. Because it was from Grace. From when Grace had tried to pull her toward the door, desperate to leave. Jennifer stood up. Can I see where Grace sleeps? She sleeps on the couch. There's no separate room for her. This is a one-bedroom. I sleep in the bedroom. She prefers the couch. Jennifer walked over to the couch and looked at the blankets piled there. Then she walked to the kitchen. She opened the refrigerator. Inside were 2 takeout containers, a gallon of milk, and some wilted lettuce. Do you cook for her? Jennifer asked. Sometimes. We eat out a lot. Healthy meals, as healthy as I can afford. Jennifer opened the medicine cabinet. The pills Marcus had organized were there, but some of the bottles were nearly empty. Jennifer picked one up. This prescription expired 2 weeks ago. I'm waiting for insurance to approve the refill. So she hasn't been taking her medication. She has. I'm stretching the doses. Jennifer's eyebrows went up. You're giving her less than prescribed just until I can afford the refill. That's dangerous. I know. But I don't have a choice. Jennifer closed the cabinet. She walked back to Grace. Grace, do you feel safe here? Grace looked at her. I want to go home. Where is home? Lagos. With my daughter. Your daughter isn't here. Number. She's in America. Jennifer looked at Diana. Can we speak privately? They stepped into the hallway. Marcus stayed with Grace. Jennifer closed the door. I'm going to be honest with you, Jennifer said. This living situation is not adequate. I'm doing the best I can. Your best isn't enough. Grace needs 24-hour care. She needs proper medication. She needs a safe environment where she can't wander. I can provide that. You work full-time. Or you did until today. Diana's throat tightened. How did you know about that? The hospital called us. They reported that you'd been terminated due to your inability to care for your mother while maintaining employment. They reported me. It's standard procedure. Diana leaned against the wall. So what happens now? You have 2 options. Either you place Grace in a licensed memory care facility within the next 14 days or the state will do it for you. I can't afford a facility. There are state-funded options. Those places are horrible. I've seen them. They're adequate. And they're safe. She'll die in there. Jennifer's voice softened slightly. She's dying anyway, Diana. Dementia is terminal. You know that. I'm not putting her in a state home. Then you need to find an alternative. Fast. I'll be back in 2 weeks for a follow-up visit. If the situation hasn't improved, I'll have no choice but to remove her from your care. Jennifer handed Diana a business card. Call me if you need resources. I know this is hard. She walked away. Diana stood in the hallway until her legs stopped shaking. Then she went back inside. Marcus was still with Grace. He looked up when Diana entered. What did she say? I have 2 weeks to put Mom in a facility or they'll take her. Then let's find a facility. With what money? I just lost my job. I told you I'd help pay for it. Diana sat down hard on the couch. Grace reached over and patted her hand. Don't cry. Diana wasn't crying. Not yet. I'm okay, Mom. No, you're not. I can tell. Marcus crouched down in front of Diana. Listen to me. I know you don't want my help. But you need it. Let me pay for the facility. Let me help you. Why do you care? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Because despite everything, I still love her. She was good to me when we were together. She treated me like family. Until you divorced me. I didn't divorce her. I divorced you. Diana looked at him. What's the catch? What do you want in return? I told you yesterday. I need to be her healthcare proxy. So you can make decisions about her life. So someone can make decisions. Diana, you're too close to this. You can't see clearly anymore. Diana wanted to argue, but she was too tired. Her phone buzzed. She looked at it. A text from the landlord. Ms. Wells, I've received multiple complaints about noise from your apartment. If this continues, I'll have to ask you to vacate. Diana showed the text to Marcus. He read it and handed the phone back. How much time before they kick you out? I don't know. A month maybe. Less if the complaints keep coming. Marcus stood up. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to make some calls. I know a guy who runs a good facility in St. Paul. I'll see if he has space. I haven't agreed to anything. You don't have a choice. Neither of us do. He pulled out his phone and walked into the bedroom. Diana heard him talking, his voice muffled through the door. Grace was still holding Diana's hand. Are you in trouble? Yes, Mom. Because of me. Diana looked at her mother. Grace's eyes were clear for the first time all morning. She knew. Somewhere in that broken brain she understood what was happening. No, Diana lied. Not because of you. I think I'm sick. You are sick. Is it bad? Yes. Grace nodded slowly. That's why you look so tired. I'm okay. No, you're not. Grace squeezed Diana's hand. I'm sorry I'm such a burden. Diana's eyes filled with tears. You're not a burden. Yes, I am. I can feel it. Every time you look at me I can see it. Mom, it's okay. I understand. Grace let go of Diana's hand. You should put me somewhere. Somewhere where people know how to take care of me. I know how to take care of you. No, you don't. And it's breaking you. Marcus came out of the bedroom. Okay, I talked to Derek. He runs Riverside Memory Care. He has 1 room available. We can see it this afternoon. Diana wiped her eyes. How much? $5,000 a month. I can't pay that. I'll pay it. For how long? Marcus didn't answer. Because they both knew the real answer. Until Grace died. Until the disease took everything from her and left nothing but an empty shell that didn't remember her own name. Let's just go look at it, Marcus said. That's all. Just look. Diana stood up. Fine. We'll look. They drove to St. Paul in Marcus's car. Grace sat in the back seat, quiet and small. The facility was in a nice neighborhood, a large building that looked more like an apartment complex than a nursing home. Inside, a man in his 50s greeted them. Marcus. Good to see you. Derek, this is Diana and her mother Grace. Derek shook Diana's hand. His grip was firm but not aggressive. Let me show you around. They walked through hallways that smelled like cleaning products and something else Diana couldn't identify. Old age maybe. Decay. Derek showed them the common areas, the dining room, the activity rooms. Everything was clean and bright and depressing as hell. And here's the room that's available, Derek said, opening a door. It was small. A bed, a dresser, a chair. A window that looked out onto a parking lot. She'd have this all to herself, Diana asked. Yes. Private room, private bathroom. 24-hour care. Diana looked at the bed. Tried to imagine Grace in it. Alone. Confused. Calling for a daughter who wouldn't be there. Can I think about it? Diana asked. Of course. But I should tell you we have a waiting list. If you want this room you'll need to decide quickly. They left. In the car nobody spoke until they were back on the highway. It wasn't that bad, Marcus said. Diana didn't respond. It's clean. The staff seems nice. Derek runs a good operation. It's a prison. It's safety. Diana turned to look at Grace in the back seat. Grace was staring out the window watching the world pass by like she'd never see it again. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe this was it. The last time she'd be free to go wherever she wanted. Even if she didn't know where she was going. Diana's phone rang. She answered without looking. Diana, it's Rachel. Diana almost hung up. What do you want? I need to tell you something. About Marcus. Diana's hand tightened on the phone. What about him? Rachel was quiet for a long moment. Then he's seeing someone. From the hospital. Diana's heart stopped. Who? It doesn't matter who. I just thought you should know. Rachel, who is it? Another pause. It's me. Diana dropped the phone. It clattered to the floor. Marcus looked over. What's wrong? Diana picked up the phone. Rachel was still talking. Diana, please let me explain. It just happened. We didn't mean for it to. Diana hung up. She looked at Marcus. He was watching the road, face neutral. Pull over, Diana said. What? Pull over right now. Marcus pulled into a gas station. Diana got out of the car before it fully stopped. She walked around to the driver's side. Marcus rolled down the window. Rachel, Diana said. You're sleeping with Rachel. Marcus's face went pale. Diana, how long? It's not how long. 6 months. Diana laughed. It came out broken and sharp. 6 months. So while I was begging you to reconsider the divorce, you were fucking my best friend. Ex-best friend. You said it yourself, you two aren't close anymore. Diana's hand moved before she realized what she was doing. She slapped him. Hard. Her palm stung. Marcus touched his face. I deserved that. You deserve a lot more than that. I'm sorry. Sorry. Diana stepped back. You're sorry. Well, that makes everything better. I still want to help with your mother. I don't want anything from you. Not your money. Not your help. Nothing. Diana, be reasonable. Reasonable? You want me to be reasonable? Grace opened the back door and got out. Why are we yelling? Diana took a deep breath. We're not. Get back in the car, Mom. I don't want to get back in the car. I want to go home. We're going home. No real home. To Lagos. A car pulled up next to them. The driver honked. Diana moved out of the way. Marcus got out of the car. Diana, I know you're angry. But you still need help. Let me do this one thing. You've done enough. Diana took Grace's arm and started walking. Marcus followed them. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. You're miles from your apartment. I'll call an Uber. With what money? Diana stopped walking. Because he was right. She had $47 in her checking account until her last paycheck cleared. And that paycheck would barely cover rent. Marcus pulled out his wallet. He held out 5 $20 bills. Take it. No. Diana, please. For her, if not for you. Diana looked at Grace. Her mother was shivering in the cold. She wasn't wearing a coat. Diana hadn't thought to grab one. Diana took the money. She hated herself for it, but she took it. Thank you, she said, the words bitter in her mouth. Marcus drove away. Diana called an Uber. They waited in the gas station bathroom because it was warm. Grace sat on the closed toilet seat. Diana leaned against the wall. Are you okay? Grace asked. No. What happened? Everything fell apart. Grace nodded like she understood. It does that sometimes. Life. The Uber arrived. They rode home in silence. When they got back to the apartment, there was a notice taped to the door. 30-day eviction notice. Excessive noise complaints. Diana pulled it down and went inside. She sat at the kitchen table and stared at nothing. Grace sat next to her. We're going to be okay, Grace said. Diana looked at her mother. How do you know? Because we're still here. That counts for something. Diana wanted to believe her. She wanted to believe that being alive was enough. But sitting there in that apartment with an eviction notice and $47 to her name and a job she'd just lost and a mother she couldn't take care of, she couldn't see how okay was possible anymore. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She opened it. "This is Derek from Riverside Memory Care. Marcus Wells put down a deposit for Grace Monroe. Her room is being held. Please call to finalize arrangements." Diana put her phone face down on the table. Grace reached over and held her hand. "It's okay to let me go," Grace said softly. "If you need to." Diana's tears finally came. She put her head down on the table and cried while her mother stroked her hair and hummed a song from Lagos that Diana hadn't heard in 30 years. Grace stopped humming. Diana lifted her head from the table. Her mother was staring at the wall again, that vacant look back in her eyes. "Mom." Grace didn't respond. Diana waved her hand in front of Grace's face. Nothing. Just emptiness. The moment of clarity was gone, like it had never existed. Diana's phone rang. "Derek from Riverside. Ms. Wells, I wanted to confirm we received Marcus's deposit. We're holding the room, but I need you to come in and sign the intake paperwork by Friday." "That's 3 days from now." "Correct. If we don't have the paperwork by then, we'll have to offer the room to the next person on our wait list." Diana hung up without answering. She looked at the eviction notice on the table. 30 days. She had 30 days to find a new apartment, except she had no job and no money, and no one would rent to her anyway. Her phone buzzed. A text from her bank. Overdraft fee. She was $17 in the negative. Grace stood up suddenly. "I need to use the bathroom." Diana followed her. Grace went in and closed the door. Diana waited outside. She heard the toilet flush, then the sink running. Then silence. "Mom, you okay?" No answer. "Mom." Diana opened the door. Grace was standing at the sink staring at herself in the mirror. She'd smeared toothpaste all over her face like makeup. "What are you doing?" Grace looked at Diana's reflection. "Getting ready for church." "We're not going to church." "Yes, we are. It's Sunday." "It's Tuesday." Grace's face crumpled. "I thought it was Sunday." Diana wet a washcloth and wiped the toothpaste off Grace's face. Grace stood still like a child being cleaned after dinner. When Diana finished, Grace touched her own cheek. "I don't recognize this face," Grace whispered. "It's you, Mom." "No. This face is old." "I'm not old." Diana guided Grace back to the couch. Grace sat down and immediately started crying. Not loud crying. Just tears running down her face while she stared at nothing. Diana's phone rang again. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Hello, Diana Wells, this is Lakeside Gas and Electric. Your account is past due. We're scheduling a shutoff for tomorrow unless payment is received. How much do I owe?" $347. Diana looked at the $47 Marcus had given her sitting on the counter. "Can I make a payment arrangement?" "You already have a payment arrangement. You've missed the last 2 payments. I just lost my job. I need more time. I'm sorry, but policy is policy. Payment by 5 p.m. tomorrow or your service will be disconnected." The woman hung up. Diana sat down on the floor. Grace was still crying silently on the couch. Diana wanted to comfort her, but she had nothing left to give. Someone knocked on the door. Diana didn't move. They knocked again, harder. "Ms. Wells, building maintenance. I need to speak with you." Diana opened the door. A man in his 60s stood there with a clipboard. "I'm here about the eviction notice. I saw it. You have 30 days to vacate. If you're not out by then, we'll file for formal eviction through the courts." "I understand. Also, there's been water damage from your apartment to the unit below. The toilet's been overflowing." Diana's stomach sank. "What?" Mrs. Chen in 1C said water's been leaking through her ceiling for 2 days. She thinks it's coming from your bathroom. Diana walked to the bathroom. Water was seeping from under the toilet. Not a lot, but enough. She grabbed towels and threw them on the floor. "How much is the damage?" she asked. The maintenance man looked at his clipboard. "Won't know until we assess it. But you're liable for repairs. Could be a couple thousand." "I don't have a couple thousand." "Then it'll come out of your security deposit. If that doesn't cover it, we'll bill you for the rest." He left. Diana soaked up the water with towels, then called the landlord. It went to voicemail. She hung up and called a plumber. The earliest they could come was Thursday. That would cost money she didn't have. Grace appeared in the bathroom doorway. "What's wrong?" "The toilet's leaking." "Oh." Grace looked at the wet floor. "I'm sorry. It's not your fault." Yes, it is. I forgot to flush. I keep forgetting. Diana threw the wet towels in the tub. It's okay, Mom. Nothing's okay. Grace walked back to the living room. Diana followed her. Grace was putting on her shoes. What are you doing going for a walk? You can't go for a walk. Why not? Because you'll get lost. Grace tied her laces. I won't get lost. I know where I'm going. Where are you going to work? I have a shift at the hospital. Diana's chest tightened. Mom, you don't work at the hospital anymore. That was me. And I just got fired. Grace stood up. No, I work there. I'm a nurse. That was 30 years ago. In Lagos. No. Grace's voice rose. I work there now. I'm going to be late. She walked to the door. Diana grabbed her arm. You can't leave. Grace yanked away. Let go of me. Mom, please. Grace pushed Diana hard. Diana stumbled backward, hitting the wall. Grace unlocked the door and walked out. Diana ran after her. Grace was already at the stairs, moving faster than Diana had seen her move in months. Diana caught up at the bottom of the stairwell. Mom, stop. Grace spun around. I said let me go. I can't do that. Why can't I just go? Because you'll get hurt. Grace's face twisted. I'm already hurt. Every day I wake up and I don't know where I am or who I am or why everything feels wrong. What's worse than that? Diana had no answer. Grace walked out into the parking lot. Diana followed at a distance. Grace headed toward the street. Diana's heart pounded. She ran and grabbed Grace's hand. At least let me come with you. Grace didn't pull away this time. Fine. They walked together. Grace led them toward the bus stop. A bus pulled up. Grace got on. Diana followed, using one of Marcus's 20s to pay for both of them. They sat in the back. Grace stared out the window. Where are we going? Diana asked. To work. The bus headed downtown. Diana didn't try to stop it. Maybe Grace needed this. Maybe they both did. After 20 minutes, Grace pulled the cord. They got off at 5th Avenue. The food bank. Grace walked toward it like she'd been planning this all along. The line was shorter than it had been yesterday. Only 6 or 7 people waiting. Grace joined the line. Diana stood beside her. Mom, we don't need to be here. Yes, we do. Why? Because I'm hungry. Diana pulled out another 20. I'll buy you food. Real food. Whatever you want. Grace shook her head. This is free. We need to save money. Diana wanted to argue, but Grace was right. They did need to save money. Every penny. Even pennies they didn't have. They waited in line. Diana recognized the volunteer from yesterday. The girl in the yellow vest. She recognized Diana too. Her smile faltered when she saw them. Back again, the girl asked. Grace stepped forward. Yes. May I have a sandwich, please? The girl handed her one. Grace took it with both hands and said thank you. Then she turned to Diana. Do you want one too? Diana shook her head. Grace walked to a bench and sat down. She unwrapped the sandwich and took a bite. Diana sat next to her. This is good, Grace said. Mom, why are we really here? Grace chewed slowly. Because this is what we are now. People who need help. We're not. Yes, we are. Stop pretending we're not. Diana watched her mother eat the free sandwich on a bench outside a food bank in Minneapolis in November. Grace was right. This was what they were now. A woman approached them. Middle-aged, black, carrying a worn purse. Excuse me. Are you waiting for the bus? No, Diana said. Oh. I thought I recognized you. Do you come here often? This is our 2nd time. The woman sat down next to Grace. It's my 5th time this month. It gets easier. Does it? Diana asked. No. But you tell yourself it does. Grace finished her sandwich and crumpled the wrapper. Do they have more? You can get seconds if the line's short, the woman said. They don't like to say it, but they will. Grace stood up and walked back to the line. Diana started to follow, but the woman put her hand on her arm. Let her go. She needs to do this herself. Diana sat back down. She watched Grace wait in line again. Watched her mother ask for another sandwich. Watched the volunteer hesitate before handing it over. Watched Grace say thank you like it was a gift from God. The woman next to Diana said, Your mother? Yes. Dementia? How did you know? My husband had it. Before he passed. I know the look. I'm sorry. Don't be. He's at peace now. That's more than he had at the end. Grace came back with the 2nd sandwich. She gave it to Diana. You need to eat. Diana took it. She wasn't hungry, but she ate anyway because Grace was watching and she needed her mother to see her as okay. The woman stood up. The bus is coming. That's mine. Good luck to you both. She left. Diana and Grace sat on the bench eating sandwiches that tasted like charity and defeat. When they finished, Grace stood up. I want to go home now. Okay. They took the bus back. In the apartment, Grace went straight to the couch and fell asleep. Diana sat at the kitchen table and opened her laptop. She searched for jobs. Nothing. She searched for cheaper apartments. Nothing under $1,000 a month, and even those required first, last, and security. $3,000 she didn't have. Her phone rang. Jennifer Brooks from APS. Diana, I wanted to follow up on our visit. Have you made any decisions about Grace's care? I'm working on it. I need something more concrete than that. My report is due Friday. What kind of report? An assessment of whether Grace can remain in your care. Based on what I saw, I'm recommending she be placed in state custody. Diana's blood went cold. You can't do that. I can if I determine she's in danger. And she is. You can barely feed yourself, let alone her. You have no job. You're being evicted. The medications aren't being taken properly. This isn't sustainable. I'm figuring it out. You have until Friday. If you don't have a solid plan by then, I'm filing for emergency removal. Jennifer hung up. Diana threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall and the screen cracked. Grace stirred on the couch but didn't wake. Diana walked to the bathroom and locked the door. She sat on the edge of the tub and finally let herself break. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Cried until her throat was raw. Cried until there was nothing left. When she came out, Grace was awake and standing in the kitchen. She'd opened the refrigerator and was staring at the empty shelves. There's no food, Grace said. I know. I'll get some. With what money? Diana didn't answer. Grace closed the refrigerator and turned to look at her daughter. You're lying to me. About everything. Aren't you? Number. Yes, you are. I can tell. Even with this broken brain, I can tell. Diana sat down at the table. Okay. Yes. I'm lying. About what? About us being okay. About having enough money. About being able to take care of you. Grace nodded slowly. I knew it. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just tell me the truth. All of it. Diana told her. About losing the job. About the eviction. About APS threatening to take her away. About Marcus and Rachel. About the facility she couldn't afford. About the electricity being shut off tomorrow. About the $47 that was all they had left. Grace listened without interrupting. When Diana finished, Grace sat down across from her. So what are we going to do? Grace asked. I don't know. That's not good enough. You need a plan. I can't think of one. Grace reached across the table and took Diana's hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong. Then we go back. Back where? To Lagos. To Nigeria. Where we can live on nothing and still be okay. Diana stared at her mother. You want to go back? I want to not be a burden. And here I'm a burden. There at least I have family. People who can help. Your family is all gone, Mom. Your sisters died. Your cousins moved away. Grace's face fell. Oh, I forgot. I know. Then what? Diana pulled up her phone. The cracked screen made it hard to read, but she managed. She pulled up the text from Derek. The deposit Marcus had put down. The room waiting for Grace. There's a facility, Diana said quietly. It's nice. Clean. Safe. And expensive. Marcus is paying for it. Grace pulled her hand away. I don't want his money. We don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not this time. Grace stood up. I won't go. You can't make me go. Mom, I said no. Grace walked to the bedroom and slammed the door. Diana heard the lock click. Diana sat alone in the kitchen. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Diana, I know you're angry. But the offer still stands. Let me help. Diana deleted it. Then she opened her banking app again. -$17. Her credit cards were all maxed out. She had no savings. No family to call. No friends left. She walked to the bedroom door and knocked. Mom, can we talk? No answer. Mom, please. The door unlocked. Grace opened it. Her eyes were red. I don't want to go to that place, Grace said. I know. I want to stay with you. I want that too. Then why can't we? Diana's voice cracked. Because I failed you. I came to this country to make a better life and all I did was make everything worse. Grace pulled Diana into a hug. Diana couldn't remember the last time her mother had hugged her. She held on tight. You didn't fail me, Grace whispered. America failed you. They stood there holding each other until Diana's phone rang again. She pulled away and answered it. Diana Wells, yes. This is Dr. Chen from the emergency room at Hennepin County Medical. Marcus Wells listed you as his emergency contact. He's been in an accident. Diana's heart stopped. What kind of accident? Car accident. He's stable but he's asking for you. Can you come? I'll be there in 20 minutes. Diana hung up and looked at Grace. I have to go to the hospital. Marcus was in an accident. Is he okay? I don't know. Do you want me to come? Diana looked at her mother. Grace's eyes were clear right now but they could cloud over at any moment. Taking her to the hospital was a risk. No. Stay here. Lock the door. Don't let anyone in. I'm not a child. I know. But please just this once listen to me. Grace nodded. Diana grabbed her keys and left. In the car her hands shook so badly she could barely drive. She hated Marcus. She hated Rachel. But the thought of Marcus being seriously hurt made her stomach twist. At the hospital she parked in the emergency lot and ran inside. The receptionist directed her to Trauma Bay 3. She pushed through the double doors. Marcus was on a gurney, his face bruised and swollen. A doctor was stitching a cut above his eyebrow. Marcus, he turned his head. Diana. You came. The hospital called me. I told them to. I'm sorry. The doctor finished the stitches and stepped back. He has a concussion and some bruised ribs. We're keeping him overnight for observation. Diana nodded. The doctor left. Diana stood next to the gurney. What happened? I ran a red light. Wasn't paying attention. Another car hit me. Were you texting number? I was thinking about you. About Grace. About what a mess I've made of everything. Diana didn't respond. Marcus reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I need to tell you something, Marcus said. What? Rachel and I broke up. Last night. I ended it. Diana's chest tightened. Why? Because I realized something. I keep trying to fix things by running away from them. I ran from you. I ran from your mother's illness. I ran into Rachel's arms because it was easier than dealing with reality. And now I want to stop running. I want to help. Really help. Not just throw money at the problem. Diana pulled her hand away. It's too late for that. Is it? Yes. You made your choice. You divorced me. You moved on. You don't get to come back now just because you feel guilty. Marcus closed his eyes. I know. But I'm going to help anyway. Whether you want me to or not. How? The facility. I already paid for 6 months up front. The room is ready. All you have to do is bring her in and sign the papers. Diana's throat closed. I can't put her in there. You have to. It's the only option left. No. Diana, I said no. Diana turned and walked out. In the parking lot she got in her car and drove. Not home. Just drove. She ended up at the food bank. It was closed now, dark and empty. She parked across the street and stared at the building. Her phone rang. Grace. Diana answered. Mom, what's wrong? Where are you? Grace's voice was small and frightened. I'm coming home right now. Please hurry. I'm scared. Why? What happened? I don't know where I am. I woke up and you were gone and I don't know where I am. Diana's foot hit the gas. I'm 5 minutes away. Stay inside. I'm coming. She made it in 4 minutes. She ran up the stairs. The apartment door was open. Diana's heart pounded. She ran inside. Grace wasn't there. Diana checked every room. The bedroom. The bathroom. The kitchen. Empty. She ran back outside and down the stairs. She saw Grace in the parking lot wearing only her nightgown in the freezing cold. Mom. Grace turned. She was holding something. Diana got closer and saw what it was. A kitchen knife. Mom, put that down. Who are you? I'm Diana. I'm your daughter. Put the knife down. No. Grace held it tighter. You're trying to take me somewhere. I heard you on the phone. That was about someone else. Not you. Liar. A door opened. The neighbor from 2D came out. She saw Grace with the knife and screamed. Call 911, she yelled. This woman has a knife. No, don't, Diana started. But it was too late. The neighbor was already on her phone. Diana turned back to Grace. Mom, please. Give me the knife. We'll go inside and talk about this. I want to go home. Okay. We'll go home. Just give me the knife first. Grace looked at the knife like she was seeing it for the first time. I don't know why I have this. It's okay. Just set it down. Grace dropped it. The knife clattered on the pavement. Diana kicked it away and pulled Grace into her arms. Grace was shaking from the cold. Sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer. Diana held her mother tighter. I'm sorry, Grace whispered. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. Yes, it is. I'm losing my mind. The police cars pulled into the parking lot. 2 officers got out. Diana didn't let go of Grace. Ma'am, step away from her, one officer said. She's my mother. She has dementia. She didn't know what she was doing. Step away now. Diana released Grace. The officers separated them. One officer stayed with Grace while the other questioned Diana. Has she been violent before? Never. She was confused. Scared. She threatened someone with a knife. She didn't threaten anyone. She was holding it. There's a difference. The officer wasn't listening. He was radioing for an ambulance. Diana's stomach dropped. What are you doing? We're taking her in for a psychiatric evaluation. Standard procedure. You can't do that. Ma'am, she's a danger to herself and others. We don't have a choice. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics loaded Grace onto a stretcher. Grace was crying now, calling for Diana. I'll meet you there, Diana called out. Mom, I'll meet you at the hospital. But the officer blocked her path. Actually, ma'am, we need to talk to you first. Diana watched the ambulance drive away, carrying her mother to some psychiatric ward where she'd be terrified and alone. And Diana couldn't do a damn thing to stop it. The officer pulled out a notepad. I need you to tell me exactly what happened tonight. Diana told him everything while her world collapsed around her, one piece at a time. The officer finished writing and looked up at Diana. You're free to go. But I'm recommending APS be notified about this incident. They already know about us. Then this won't help your case. Diana got in her car and drove to Hennepin County Medical Center. At the psychiatric intake desk, she asked for Grace Monroe. Are you family? The receptionist asked. I'm her daughter. She's currently being evaluated. You'll need to wait. How long? Could be a few hours. Could be all night. Diana sat in the waiting room. The chairs were hard plastic. The fluorescent lights hummed. A man across from her was talking to himself. A woman in the corner was crying. This was where they'd brought Grace. To this place. 3 hours passed. Diana asked again. Still being evaluated. Another hour. Same answer. At midnight, a doctor finally came out. Diana Wells. Diana stood up. Yes. How is she? Grace is stable. We've given her something to calm her down. Can I see her? Not tonight. She's on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. We need to assess whether she's a danger to herself or others. She's not. She has dementia. She was confused. I understand. But the police report says she was holding a weapon. A kitchen knife. She didn't know what she was doing. The doctor's expression didn't change. We'll complete our assessment and contact you. Go home. Get some rest. I'm not leaving without seeing her. You don't have a choice. Visiting hours are over. Come back tomorrow at 10. Diana wanted to scream. Instead, she left. In the parking lot, she sat in her car and called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Diana, are you okay? They have Mom. Psychiatric hold. I can't see her. Jesus. Where are you? Hennepin County Medical. I'm still here. Different floor. Come up. Room 412. Diana went back inside and took the elevator to the 4th floor. Marcus was sitting up in his hospital bed, still bruised but alert. He saw Diana's face and held out his hand. She took it without thinking. Tell me what happened, he said. Diana told him everything. The knife. The police. The ambulance. The psychiatric hold. When she finished, Marcus was quiet. This is bad, he finally said. I know. APS is going to use this. They're going to say you can't control her. I can't control her. Nobody can. She's sick. Marcus squeezed her hand. Then let me help. Please. No conditions. No strings. Just let me help. Diana pulled her hand away. You said there were conditions. The healthcare proxy thing. Forget that. I'll pay for the facility. You can still make all the decisions. Why would you do that now? Marcus looked away. Because I saw Rachel tonight. Before the accident. Diana's chest tightened. And she told me she's pregnant. The room tilted. Diana grabbed the bed rail. What, she's pregnant? It's mine. Diana couldn't breathe. How long have you known? She told me today. That's why I was distracted. That's why I ran the red light. Diana backed toward the door. I can't do this right now. Diana, wait. She walked out. In the hallway she bent over and tried to catch her breath. A nurse approached her. Ma'am, are you okay? Diana straightened up. I'm fine. She took the stairs instead of the elevator. All 4 flights. Her legs burned but she kept going. Outside she got in her car and just drove. No destination. Just away. Her phone rang. Jennifer Brooks. Ms. Wells, I was just informed about tonight's incident with Grace. It's 1 in the morning. I'm aware. I need to inform you that I'm filing for emergency removal. Given Grace's escalating behavior and your inability to maintain a safe environment, the state is taking custody. You can't do that. I already did. The paperwork was filed an hour ago. A judge will review it in the morning. She was scared. She didn't understand what was happening. Which is exactly why she needs professional care. I'm sorry, Diana, but this is for her safety. Jennifer hung up. Diana pulled over and screamed. She screamed until her throat was raw. Then she drove home. The apartment was dark. The electricity had been shut off. Diana used her phone flashlight to navigate inside. She sat on the couch where Grace had slept and cried until there were no tears left. At dawn she drove back to the hospital. The psychiatric ward wouldn't let her in until 10. She waited in her car. At 9:55 she went to the desk. Grace Monroe. I'm here to see her. The receptionist checked the computer. She's been moved. Moved where? To the memory care unit. 4th floor west. Diana took the elevator up. The memory care unit had locked doors. She pressed the buzzer. A nurse answered. I'm here to see Grace Monroe. Are you family? I'm her daughter. The nurse let her in. Grace was in a room at the end of the hall. Diana pushed the door open. Grace was in bed staring at the ceiling. Her wrists had marks on them. Mom. Grace turned her head slowly. Her eyes were glazed. They'd sedated her heavily. Mom, it's me. Diana. Grace blinked. I know you. Yes. I'm your daughter. No. My daughter is young. You're old. Diana sat in the chair next to the bed. I grew up, Mom. I'm 42 now. Grace's face scrunched up in confusion. That's not possible. My daughter is 10. Diana took Grace's hand. The marks on her wrist were from restraints. What did they do to you? I tried to leave. They wouldn't let me. They tied me down. Diana's vision blurred. I'm going to get you out of here. You can't. They said I have to stay. Who said that? The doctors. They said I'm dangerous. The door opened. A doctor in a white coat came in. Ms. Wells, I'm Dr. Patel. I've been overseeing your mother's care. Diana stood up. Why was she restrained? She became combative. We had to ensure the safety of the staff. She's a 70-year-old woman with dementia. She's also surprisingly strong when agitated. We've started her on antipsychotics to help manage her behavior. I don't want her on antipsychotics. Unfortunately, that's not your decision right now. The state has temporary custody. We make the medical decisions. Diana's hands clenched. That's not final. The judge hasn't ruled yet. The judge ruled an hour ago. Emergency custody was granted to the state. You can petition for a hearing, but that takes weeks. Diana looked at Grace in the bed, drugged and helpless. This is kidnapping. This is protective custody. Your mother is safer here than she was in your care. Diana turned to face the doctor fully. Get out. Excuse me, get out of this room before I do something we'll both regret. Dr. Patel left. Diana sat back down next to Grace. Grace's eyes were closing. Don't leave me here, Grace whispered. I won't. Promise me. I promise. But Grace was already asleep. Diana sat there holding her mother's hand until a nurse came in and told her visiting hours were over. Diana refused to leave. Security was called. 2 guards escorted her out. She didn't fight them. There was no point. In the parking lot her phone rang. The landlord. Ms. Wells, we're moving up your eviction date. You have 72 hours to vacate. The notice said 30 days. That was before your mother pulled a knife in our parking lot. We have other tenants to think about. 3 days. That's it. Diana hung up. She drove to the apartment. Inside she started packing. She didn't have boxes, so she used garbage bags. Clothes. Books. Grace's things. She worked until her back ached and her hands were raw. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. I heard about the emergency custody. I'm so sorry. Please call me. Diana threw her phone on the couch. It bounced and fell on the floor. She kept packing. At noon someone knocked. Diana opened the door. Rachel stood there, her hand on her barely visible stomach. What do you want to talk? We have nothing to talk about. Please. Just 5 minutes. Diana walked back inside. Rachel followed her. I know you hate me, Rachel said. I don't hate you. I nothing you. That's worse. Diana shoved clothes into a garbage bag. What do you want, Rachel? I want you to know I'm sorry. About everything. About Marcus. About the baby. About not being there for you. Okay. You're sorry. Now leave. I also want you to know I can help. Diana stopped packing. How? I have connections. At the hospital. I can talk to people about your mom. Get her transferred somewhere better. The state has custody. Nobody's going to listen to you. They might. If I explain the situation. If I advocate for her. Diana turned around. Why would you do that? Rachel's eyes filled with tears. Because I feel guilty. Because I destroyed your life and now I'm having a baby with your ex-husband and you're losing everything and it's not fair. Life's not fair, Rachel. I thought you knew that. I do. But maybe I can make this one thing fair. Diana sat down on the couch. What do you want in return? Nothing. Everyone wants something. Rachel sat down next to her. I want you to forgive me. Eventually. Not now. But someday. I can't promise that. I know. Rachel stood up. I'll make some calls. See what I can do. She left. Diana went back to packing. An hour later her phone rang. Unknown number. Diana Wells. Yes. This is Dr. Rashida Okonkwo. I'm a neurologist at Abbott Northwestern. Rachel Coleman contacted me about your mother. Diana's heart jumped. And I'm reviewing Grace's case. I may be able to help. Can you come to my office tomorrow at 2? Yes. Absolutely. Good. Bring all of Grace's medical records. Everything you have. Dr. Okonkwo hung up. Diana allowed herself one moment of hope. Then she kept packing. That night she slept on the floor of the empty apartment. In the morning she loaded everything she owned into her car. It all fit. Her entire life in the back of a Honda Civic. She drove to a storage unit facility. The cheapest unit was $80 a month. She paid for 2 months with the last of Marcus's money. She unloaded everything and locked the unit. Now she was officially homeless. She drove to a coffee shop and used their bathroom to clean up. Then she went to the hospital to see Grace. The memory care unit nurse stopped her at the door. I'm sorry, but Grace has been moved again. Diana's stomach dropped. Where? Riverside Memory Care. The state transferred her this morning. That's the facility Marcus paid for. I don't know anything about that. I just know she was transferred. Diana drove to St. Paul. At Riverside, Derek met her at the entrance. Diana, I wasn't expecting you. Where's my mother? She's in her room. Settling in. I want to see her. Of course. Follow me. He led her down a hallway. The facility looked nicer in the daylight. Still institutional but clean. Safe. They stopped at room 114. Derek opened the door. Grace was sitting in a chair by the window. She looked smaller than Diana remembered. Frailer. She turned when they entered. Who are you? Grace asked. I'm Diana. Your daughter. I don't have a daughter. Diana looked at Derek. Can I have a moment alone with her? Of course. Derek left. Diana sat on the bed facing Grace. Mom, do you know where you are? Number? You're in a care facility. In St. Paul. Why? Because you need help. More help than I can give you. Grace stared at her. Are you abandoning me? The word hit like a punch. No. I'm making sure you're safe. I don't want to be safe. I want to be with you. You can't be with me. I don't have anywhere to live. Then we'll figure it out together. Diana's throat closed. I can't do this anymore, Mom. I tried. I really tried. But I can't. Grace reached out and touched Diana's face. You're crying. Yes. Why? Because I'm losing you. I'm right here. No, you're not. You haven't been here for months. You're gone. And I don't know how to get you back. Grace pulled her hand away. Then let me go. Diana shook her head. I can't. Yes, you can. It's okay. I give you permission. Diana broke. She put her head in her mother's lap and sobbed. Grace stroked her hair like she used to when Diana was a child. Like she still remembered how to comfort her daughter even when she didn't remember who her daughter was. A knock on the door. Derek came back in. Diana, there's someone here to see you. Diana wiped her face and stood up. In the hallway, Jennifer Brooks was waiting. Ms. Wells, I wanted to update you on the custody situation. What about it? The state is maintaining custody for now. But there will be a hearing in 2 weeks. You can petition for it to be reversed. What are my chances? Jennifer hesitated. Honestly, not good. You have no job, no home, no resources. The court will see Grace as better off in state care. So that's it. I just lose her. You don't lose her. You can visit. You're still her daughter. But I'm not her guardian. No. Diana leaned against the wall. Who makes decisions for her now? The state. Through a court-appointed conservator. Not Marcus. Number. Why would it be Marcus? Diana pulled out her phone. She called Marcus. He answered immediately. Diana, you lied to me. About the healthcare proxy. You never had it, did you? Silence. Then no. You lied to get me to agree to put her here. I did what I had to do to save her. You manipulated me. I saved her life. She's safe now. Fed. Cared for. Isn't that what matters? Diana hung up. She turned to Jennifer. I want to file for the hearing. To get custody back. You'll need a lawyer. How much does that cost? At least $5,000 for a case like this. Diana laughed. It sounded broken even to her own ears. I have $14 in my bank account. There are legal aid services. Will they take my case? Maybe. If you can prove you have a plan. A job. Housing. Stability. And if I can't prove that, Jennifer's expression softened. Then the state keeps custody. I'm sorry. She left. Diana went back into Grace's room. Grace was asleep in the chair. Diana sat on the bed and watched her mother breathe. Her phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Okonkwo. Looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. There may be options you haven't considered. Diana stared at the text. Hope was dangerous. Hope had burned her before. But what else did she have? She stood up and kissed Grace's forehead. I'm not giving up, Mom. Not yet. Grace didn't wake up. Diana left the facility and sat in her car in the parking lot. She had nowhere to go. No home. No job. No money. She opened her banking app. -$23 now with overdraft fees. She drove to the library and went inside. She sat at a computer and applied for jobs. 20 applications. 30. 40. Most required addresses. She put down the storage unit address. At 7 p.m. the library closed. Diana drove to a Walmart parking lot and reclined her seat. This was home now. A car in a parking lot. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep. Her phone rang at midnight. The hospital. Grace's floor. Ms. Wells, this is Nurse Patterson at Riverside. Your mother is asking for you. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Diana drove back to St. Paul. At the facility, the night nurse let her in. Grace was awake in bed, agitated. Where have you been? Grace demanded. I had to take care of some things, Mom. I've been waiting for hours. I thought you left me. I would never leave you. Grace grabbed Diana's hand. For a moment her eyes were completely clear. Yes, you will. You have to. This place is too expensive. You can't afford it. Marcus is paying for it. Marcus divorced you. He doesn't owe us anything. I know. So how long will he pay? A month, 6 months, a year? Diana didn't answer because she didn't know. Grace squeezed her hand harder. Listen to me. Really listen. You need to let me go. Stop saying that. I'm not going to get better. I'm only going to get worse. And you're destroying yourself trying to save me. I don't care. I care. I'm your mother. And I'm telling you to stop. Find a job. Find a place to live. Build your life back. Without me. Diana pulled her hand away. I can't do that. Why not? Because you're all I have. Grace's face crumpled. Oh baby. That's not true. Yes it is. I came to this country for you. I brought you here. This is my fault. No. This is America's fault. This broken country that chews people up and spits them out. That takes everything and gives nothing back. Diana had never heard her mother talk like this. So bitter. So aware. I thought you loved America, Diana said. I did. Until it took my daughter from me. I'm right here. Grace shook her head. No. The daughter I knew is gone. America killed her. Turned her into this exhausted, broken thing. And I hate it. I hate what this country did to you. Diana couldn't speak. Grace lay back down, the clarity already fading from her eyes. Go, Grace said. Please. Before I forget why I'm angry. Diana left. In the hallway she saw Derek locking up his office. Diana, what are you doing here so late, saying goodbye? To Grace, to everything. Derek's face showed concern. Are you okay? Diana laughed. No. But I'm going to be. She walked out of the facility and got in her car. She sat there until the sun came up. Then she drove to Dr. Okonkwo's office for her 2 o'clock appointment. It was time to hear about these options. Time to find out if there was any way back from rock bottom. Or if this was just the beginning of the fall. Dr. Okonkwo's office was in a medical building Diana had driven past 100 times but never entered. The receptionist checked her in and told her to wait. Diana sat in a chair that was too comfortable. Everything in this office spoke of money. Success. The kind of life Diana used to think she'd have. 15 minutes later Dr. Okonkwo came out. She was tall, Nigerian, maybe 50. She shook Diana's hand firmly. Come in. Diana followed her into an office lined with medical journals and family photos. Dr. Okonkwo gestured to a chair. Diana sat. Rachel told me about your mother, Dr. Okonkwo said. I reviewed the medical records you sent. Grace has advanced dementia, likely Alzheimer's. I know. What you might not know is that there's a clinical trial. New drug. Early results are promising. Diana's chest tightened. Promising how some patients show slowed progression. A few even regained minor cognitive function. Could it help my mother? Dr. Okonkwo leaned back. Possibly. But there are complications. What kind of complications? The trial requires participants to live at home with family. Not in a facility. The state having custody is a problem. Diana's hope crumbled. So she can't participate. Not unless you regain custody. I can't get custody. I have no job, no home, no lawyer. Dr. Okonkwo opened a drawer and pulled out a business card. This is Sarah Chen, immigration and family law attorney. She works pro bono for cases like yours. Diana took the card. Why would she help me? Because she's my sister-in-law. And because I asked her to. Call her today. Diana stared at the card. I don't understand. You don't even know me. Dr. Okonkwo's expression softened. I came to America from Nigeria 30 years ago. I know what it's like to be an immigrant woman trying to survive here. I also know what it's like to watch your mother disappear into dementia. If I can help someone else not go through what I went through alone, I will. Diana's eyes burned. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to be hard. The trial is demanding. 6 months minimum. You'll need to be with Grace 24/7. Can you do that if it means getting her back? Yes. It might not get her back. It might only slow things down. That's still more than I have now. Dr. Okonkwo stood up. Call Sarah. Today. The custody hearing is in 2 weeks. That's not much time to build a case. Diana left the office and sat in her car. She called Sarah Chen. The lawyer answered on the second ring. Diana Wells, Rashida told me about you. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? Yes. What time? 8. And bring everything. Bank statements, employment history, medical records, everything. Diana hung up and drove to the library. She printed documents for 3 hours. Her employment history at the hospital. Grace's medical records. Her eviction notice. Her termination letter. Every piece of paper that told the story of how she'd lost everything. That night she slept in her car again. In the morning she drove to Sarah's office. The building was downtown, older but maintained. Sarah met her in the lobby. She was young, maybe 30, with sharp eyes and a kind smile. Coffee? Sarah asked. Please. They went to her office. Sarah spread Diana's documents across her desk and read through them without speaking. 20 minutes passed. Finally Sarah looked up. Okay. Here's the truth. Your case is bad. Diana's stomach dropped. How bad? You have no income, no permanent address, and a documented history of being unable to manage Grace's care. Any judge will look at this and say the state is the better option. So I can't win. I didn't say that. I said it's bad. But there's a way. What way? Sarah pulled out a legal pad. First you need a job. Today. Right now. Doesn't matter what it is. You need to show income. I've applied everywhere. Then you're going to walk into places and ask in person. Retail, food service, anything. You need a paycheck before the hearing. Diana nodded. Okay. What else? You need an address. A real one. Not a storage unit. I can't afford rent. Do you have any friends who would let you stay with them? Diana thought about it. Rachel was out of the question. She'd burned every other bridge. No. Sarah tapped her pen against the pad. There are transitional housing programs. I can get you on a list, but the wait is usually weeks. I don't have weeks. Then you sleep in your car and use a friend's address. We'll figure it out. Sarah wrote something down. Third, you need a care plan. A detailed explanation of how you'll manage Grace at home while working. The clinical trial. Dr. Okonkwo said I know. Rashida already talked to me. That's your strongest card. A medical professional vouching for you is huge. But you need more than that. You need to show you have a support system. I don't have a support system. Sarah looked at her directly. Then build one. You have 2 weeks. Find people who will testify that you can do this. A pastor, a neighbor, a coworker, anyone. Diana left the office with a list of tasks. Find a job. Find housing. Find people willing to lie about her having her life together. She sat in her car and wanted to quit. Just drive away. Let the state have Grace. Let Marcus and Rachel have their baby. Let America win. Instead, she drove to Target and asked for an application. The manager said they weren't hiring. She went to McDonald's. Same answer. Starbucks. Walgreens. 5 places rejected her. At the 6th place, a small grocery store, the manager looked at her application and said, "Can you start tomorrow?" Diana almost cried. Yes. 6 a.m. $12 an hour. Stocking shelves. I'll be here. She left with a job. It wasn't much, but it was something. She called Sarah. I got a job. Grocery store. Starts tomorrow. Good. What about housing? Still working on it. Diana hung up and drove to Riverside. She asked to see Grace. The nurse at the desk shook her head. I'm sorry. The state restricts visitation to twice a week. You were here last night. Your next visit is Thursday. I just want to see her for 5 minutes. I can't allow it. State orders. Diana wanted to argue but knew it was pointless. She drove back to the Walmart parking lot and opened her laptop. She searched for transitional housing. Every program had a wait list. She called 4 of them anyway. All said the same thing. 6 to 8 weeks minimum. Her phone rang. Marcus. What do you want? I heard you met with Dr. Okonkwo. About the trial. How did you know that? Rachel told me. Diana, if you're trying to get custody back, I want to help. I don't want your help. I know. But you need a place to stay. I have a place. Diana laughed bitterly. Your house where you live with Rachel number. My dad has a rental property. Small house. It's empty right now. You can stay there. Why would your father let me stay in his house? Because I asked him to. And because even he feels bad about how this turned out. Diana closed her eyes. Pride said no. Survival said yes. What do you want in exchange? Nothing. I swear. Just take the house. Get your mother back. Make this right. And when the trial is over, when the 6 months are up, we'll figure it out then. Diana hated that she was considering this. Send me the address. Marcus texted it immediately. A house in South Minneapolis. Diana drove there. It was small, old, but livable. Marcus was waiting outside with keys. It's furnished, he said. Utilities are on. You can move in today. Diana took the keys. Why are you really doing this? Marcus looked away. Because Rachel's baby is due in 6 months. And I keep thinking about what kind of father I'll be. What kind of person I am. And I don't like the answer. So this is about your guilt. Yes. But does it matter why you need a place? This is a place. Diana walked inside. The house smelled musty, but it was clean. 2 bedrooms. 1 bathroom. A kitchen that actually had a stove. She turned to Marcus. I'll take it. But I'm paying you back. Every dollar. When I can. Okay. Marcus left. Diana stood in the empty living room and let herself feel something close to hope. She had a job. She had a house. Now she needed people. She called the church where Pastor Chen worked. He answered on the third ring. Diana, I heard about Grace. I'm so sorry. I need help. I'm trying to get custody back. I need someone to testify that I'm capable of caring for her. Pastor Chen was quiet for a moment. What do you need me to say? That I'm responsible? That I have community support? That I'm not alone? Are those things true? Diana hesitated. They could be. Then I'll testify. But Diana, you need to actually build that community. Not just for the court. For yourself. I don't know how. Start by coming to church this Sunday. We have a support group for caregivers. Come meet people who understand what you're going through. Diana hung up and added it to her list. Sunday. Church. Community. Things she'd never had time for before. She drove to the grocery store and worked her first shift. 6 hours of lifting boxes and stocking shelves. Her back ached. Her hands were raw. But at the end she had $72 before taxes. Real money. Earned money. Over the next week Diana built a life from nothing. She worked the grocery store every morning. She went to Sarah's office every afternoon to prepare for the hearing. She attended the caregiver support group on Sunday and met 3 women who understood exactly what she was going through. One of them, Angela, agreed to testify. On Thursday she visited Grace. Her mother was worse. More distant. More confused. Diana held her hand and told her about the trial. There's a drug that might help. But I need to get you out of here first. Grace stared at her without recognition. Who are you? I'm Diana. Your daughter. I don't have a daughter. Diana left before Grace could see her cry. In the parking lot she called Sarah. What if I get custody back and she doesn't even know me? What's the point? The point is you tried. That's more than most people do. The hearing was on a Tuesday. Diana wore the only professional clothes she had left. Sarah met her outside the courthouse. Nervous, Sarah asked. Terrified. Good. That means you care. Remember, let me do most of the talking. When the judge asks you questions, be honest. Don't exaggerate. Don't make promises you can't keep. They went inside. The courtroom was smaller than Diana expected. The state's attorney was a woman in her 40s who looked bored. Jennifer Brooks sat behind her. The judge was an older black woman who read through the file for 5 minutes before looking up. This is a petition to restore custody of Grace Monroe to her daughter Diana Wells. Ms. Chen, you may present your case. Sarah stood up. Your Honor, Diana Wells is seeking to restore custody of her mother for the purpose of enrolling her in a clinical trial that could significantly improve her quality of life. Dr. Rashida Okonkwo will testify about the trial's requirements and potential benefits. Dr. Okonkwo was called to the stand. She explained the trial clearly and professionally. The state's attorney tried to poke holes in it. This trial is experimental. There's no guarantee it will help. That's correct, Dr. Okonkwo said. But doing nothing guarantees Grace's condition will worsen. This trial offers hope. Next, Pastor Chen testified about Diana's character. Then Angela from the support group testified about Diana's commitment to her mother. The state's attorney called Jennifer Brooks. In your professional opinion, can Ms. Wells provide adequate care for Grace Monroe? Jennifer looked at Diana. 2 weeks ago I would have said no. But people change. If Ms. Wells has stable housing and employment, and if she has Dr. Okonkwo's supervision, then yes. I believe she can. Diana's throat closed. Jennifer had just saved her. Finally, the judge called Diana to the stand. Sarah had prepared her, but Diana's hands still shook. Ms. Wells, why do you want custody of your mother? Diana took a breath. Because she's my mother. And because I made a promise to her when I brought her to America. I promised her a better life. I haven't kept that promise yet. But I'm trying. You lost your job. Your home. You couldn't manage her care before. What's different now? What's different is I'm not trying to do it alone anymore. I have a doctor supervising her care. I have a support group. I have a lawyer helping me navigate the system. And I have a job that might not be much, but it's mine. I earned it. The judge made notes. The clinical trial requires 6 months of in-home care. Can you commit to that? Yes. What happens after 6 months? Diana looked at Sarah, then back at the judge. I don't know. But I'll figure it out. The same way I figured out how to survive the last 3 months. The judge was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I'm going to grant conditional custody. You'll have a social worker checking in weekly. If at any point Grace's safety is compromised, custody reverts to the state. Do you understand? Diana could barely breathe. Yes, I understand. Then custody is restored. Good luck, Ms. Wells. The gavel came down. Diana stood there in shock. Sarah grabbed her arm. You won. Diana, you won. Diana walked out of the courthouse in a daze. In the parking lot she called Riverside. This is Diana Wells. I'm coming to get my mother. 2 hours later Diana walked into Grace's room. Grace was sitting in the chair by the window staring at nothing. Diana knelt down in front of her. Mom, we're going home. Grace looked at her. Who are you? I'm your daughter. And I'm taking you home. Grace's eyes cleared slightly. Home to Lagos number. Home to Minneapolis. To a little house where we're going to fight this disease together. Grace touched Diana's face. You're crying. Yes. Why? Because I thought I lost you. But I didn't. You're still here. Grace smiled. It was small and uncertain, but it was real. Okay. Let's go home. Diana packed Grace's things. They left Riverside together. In the car Grace fell asleep. Diana drove to the little house Marcus had given them. She helped Grace inside and settled her on the couch. Grace woke up and looked around. Is this ours? Yes, Mom. This is ours. It's small. I know. But it's home. Grace nodded. Home is good. Over the next 3 months Diana and Grace fell into a routine. Diana worked mornings at the grocery store. Afternoons were for Grace's trial medications and physical therapy. Evenings were for cooking dinner together, even when Grace forgot how to hold a spoon. The medication didn't cure Grace. It didn't reverse the damage. But it slowed things down. Grace had more lucid moments. More days when she recognized Diana. More conversations that made sense. One evening 4 months into the trial Grace looked at Diana and said, I'm proud of you. Diana looked up from the dishes. What? I said, I'm proud of you. For fighting for me. For not giving up. Diana's eyes filled with tears. You remember. Right now I do. I don't know if I will tomorrow. But right now I remember everything. And I need to tell you something. Diana sat down at the table. Grace took her hand. I know I'm dying. The medication is just buying us time. And I need you to know that's okay. It's not okay. Yes, it is. Because you gave me something more valuable than time. You gave me dignity. You fought for me when no one else would. You sacrificed everything. And when I'm gone I need you to know that was enough. Diana couldn't speak. Grace squeezed her hand. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll build a life after I'm gone. A real life. Not just surviving. Living. I promise. Grace smiled. Good. Now help me to bed. I'm tired. Diana helped her mother to the bedroom. Grace fell asleep within minutes. Diana sat on the edge of the bed and watched her breathe. The lucid moment was probably already fading. Tomorrow Grace might not remember this conversation. But Diana would remember for both of them. 6 months into the trial Dr. Okonkwo ran new tests. The results showed the medication had slowed Grace's decline significantly. Not stopped it. Not reversed it. But slowed it enough that Grace had good days mixed with the bad ones. Diana took a second job. Part-time at a clinic as a nurse's aide. It wasn't the hospital, but it was healthcare. It was what she knew. She worked 2 jobs and cared for Grace and somehow made it work. Marcus called occasionally. Rachel had the baby. A girl. They named her Grace. Marcus asked if Diana wanted to meet her. Diana said no. Not yet. Maybe someday. But not yet. A year after the custody hearing Grace had a stroke. Diana found her on the bathroom floor. She called 911. At the hospital the doctors said Grace wouldn't recover. The stroke had damaged too much of her already fragile brain. Diana sat by her bedside. Grace was unconscious. The machines beeped steadily. Diana held her mother's hand and talked to her. I kept my promise, Mom. I built a life. I have 2 jobs. I have friends from the support group. I even started dating someone. He works at the clinic. He's patient and kind, and he doesn't run when things get hard. Grace's eyes fluttered but didn't open. I'm going to be okay when you're gone. I don't want to be. But I will be. Because you taught me how to survive. You taught me that loving someone means fighting for them even when it's impossible. Especially when it's impossible. The machines beeped faster. Then slower. Then stopped. A nurse came in and checked Grace's pulse. She looked at Diana. I'm sorry. Diana nodded. The nurse left. Diana sat there holding her mother's hand until it went cold. Then she kissed Grace's forehead and whispered thank you for everything. The funeral was small. Pastor Chen spoke. Angela from the support group came. Sarah Chen came. Dr. Okonkwo came. Even Marcus came standing in the back with Rachel and their baby. Diana stood at the front and told the truth. About the food bank. About the eviction. About watching her mother beg for sandwiches. About the fight to get her back. About the year they'd had together at the end. My mother came to America because I promised her a better life. And for a long time I thought I failed her. But I was wrong. We gave each other a better life. Not an easier one. Not a richer one. But one where we fought for each other until the very end. And that's worth more than any American dream. After the funeral, Diana drove to the food bank. She found the volunteer coordinator and signed up. Every Thursday she handed out sandwiches to people who needed them. People like her mother had been. People like she had been. One Thursday a woman approached the table. She was young, black, holding the hand of an older woman who looked confused. Can we have 2 sandwiches? The young woman asked. Diana handed them over. Of course. The older woman took hers with trembling hands. Thank you. Diana smiled. You're welcome. Both of you. The young woman's eyes filled with tears. This is my mother. She has dementia. We're struggling. Diana reached across the table and touched the woman's hand. I know. I've been where you are. And I need you to hear this. You're going to survive this. It's going to be harder than anything you've ever done. But you're going to survive it. The woman nodded, unable to speak. She and her mother walked away. Diana watched them go and thought about Grace. About promises kept and promises broken. About the American dream and the American reality. She'd lost everything to keep her mother alive for one more year. One more year of lucid moments and confused days. One more year of fighting against a disease that couldn't be beaten. One more year of love that cost everything and gave back just enough to make it worth it. America hadn't given her a better life. But she'd built one anyway. Not in spite of the struggle. Because of it. That was the truth no one told immigrants. The dream wasn't waiting for you. You had to rip it from America's hands while it fought you every step of the way. And even then, what you got might not look like what you expected. But if you survived it, if you came out the other side still breathing, still capable of love, still willing to fight for one more person who needed help, then maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. Because at the end, when they lower you into the ground or scatter your ashes or however your story ends, the only thing that matters is whether you fought for the people you loved with everything you had, held nothing back, and refused to let this country break what couldn't be broken, the bond between a mother and daughter who loved each other enough to survive the unsurvivable together.